Number 11. Find all the zeros of the polynomial function. Use the rational zero theorem. They also suggest we use Descartes' rule of signs, but we'll be able to do it without that. So our function is x to the third minus 5x to the second minus 17x plus 21. And you'll notice that the highest exponent is a 3, which means the number of zeros we're looking for is 3, and the number of real zeros may be less than that. So we'll begin by listing the possible rational solutions. So that's going to be plus or minus factors of 21, because there's a 1 here. So plus or minus 1, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 7, plus or minus 21. So there are 8 possibilities. I'm going to start in the middle. We'll start with a 3. We'll use our synthetic division to see if our remainder is 0, to see if it's a 0. So 1, negative 5, negative 17, 21. All powers are represented. So I drop this 1. Then I begin to multiply and add. 3 times 1 is 3. Add negative 5 and 3, I get negative 2. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Add negative 17 and negative 6, I get negative 23. 3 times negative 23 is negative 69. Add 21 and negative 69, and I get negative 48. It's not a 0, but now we know by the remainder theorem that f of 3, if we substituted it, would be negative 48. But it's not a 0, and we're looking for zeros. So now I'll try negative 3. Once again, I'm doing synthetic division. Drop the 1, then multiply. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, add I get negative 8. Negative 3 times negative 8 is 24, add I get a 7. Negative 3 times 7 is negative 21, add I get a 0. So negative 3 is a 0. That means f of negative 3 would result in 0, and there's also an x-intercept. Now that I've tried the 3's, I could try the 7, and I'm looking at this thinking I could actually factor this. X squared minus 8x plus 7 equals 0. And if you see that, you go ahead and factor it. But if you don't, let's do what we said. Let's try the 7. So 1, negative 5, negative 17, and 21. We drop the 1. Multiply 7 times 1 is 7. Add, we get 2. Multiply 7 times 2 is 14. Add, we get negative 3. Multiply 7 times negative 3, we get negative 21. Add, we get 0 again. That means 7 is a 0, and f of 7 is 0. I've reduced this down to a square in both of these cases. So what I'm going to do for my last try is I'm going to take this 1 to negative 3, knowing this is x squared plus 2x minus 3. Now this has fewer factors. The factors of 3, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 3. So I could try 3, but I've already tried 3. So I need to try 1 or negative 1. So I'll try 1 first. So drop my 1 and then multiply. 1 times 1 is 1, add I get 3. 1 times 3 is 3, add I get 0. So now I've found my third 0. F of 1 is also 0. So my zeros are negative 3, 7, and 1. Now I have no reason to look further because, remember, it can only have a maximum of 3, and I've already found all 3. So use factoring if you want to. Just keep dividing. If you don't, if you divide all of those and none of them work or some of them don't work and you don't have up to 3, you've got to consider the quadratic formula